Mayan. Good morning. Oh, didn't want you to see my own, but you already seen it. The bozo hair here. Bozo. Bozo the clown. Well, anyway, this is Gray Cloud's Thoughts. This is this channel, Gray Cloud's Thoughts. Hadn't been up long out of the bed. I woke up several times in the night. I went, as I've said, I've been going down early. Ever since the time change, I've been kind of going to sleep anywhere between sometimes 7 and 10 o'clock at night. Depending on how early I go to bed, I'll wake up. Like last night, I did wake up, I think it was about 10 o'clock. And, but I fell back to sleep and then got back up around 12. Stayed up for a little while. But since this is Gray Cloud's Thoughts, I was just thinking in this morning, I was like reading a little, I just read just a tiny bit of scripture just now, but I was thinking about some conversation I've had over the past few days, and about, what people believe or what people think that is their duty, like their duty to show everybody that they're wrong and that they have it right when it comes to some of the big things in life. For instance, like what happens after here in this world? Where do we come from before we get here? You get what I'm saying? Where do we go after? If anywhere, some people still have no clue about that. Is there a creator? Is there not? That kind of stuff. For the most part, that's where my mind stays a lot of times. When it's not wondering in anxiousness, which right now it's not. You give me a few hours and I may be anxious. I might get paid today, so I'm a little anxious about that, but that's a good type of anxiousness. The type of anxiousness I'm talking about that I don't like is what I've been experiencing here lately, just during my day, trying to stay more active, participating in the physical world, whether that be walking into town or I'm here at the trailer and I'm reading maybe scripture in the morning, doing a video from Jesus Calling, all for the other channel or something, doing my own studies, like I'm reading from The Master Speaks, I'm skimming over, I'm going through living a life of awareness, just kind of, because I've read this whole book anyway a couple of times, once to myself and then, to everybody else, but, or I think I just shared it with everybody, and I've just kind of like used it as reference. I always like to have certain books that have really been influential to me as reference, for instance, it's just like the scriptures, I'm not much of one that memorizes the stuff. I even like Joel S. Goldsmith points out that there's plenty of people that can memorize scriptures or great spiritual texts from other sources or whatever, but do they really get the meaning of what it is that they've read? Are they really getting some kind of like inspiration from something outside of themselves to help them interpret whatever it is they've read that was put down by human hands through a human conduit? Because you got to remember that. And that brings up one of the subjects from the other day that somebody the night before last, when we talked extensively about certain things, I often bring up the Toltec. Now, I know there's only a handful of subscribers here. I hope this reaches some of you and you actually watch this. Maybe there'll be a new person come aboard and watch this video and decide to just subscribe to this channel. Uh, you know, I think pretty much everybody on this channel, subscribing wise, are subscribed to the other channel, Gray Cloudy Day. And I talk about things like this also over there, but I'm trying to transition to where this channel will be me sharing some really just, it's not always going to be about spiritual stuff. I'm going to broaden my perspective, and I hope to go into 2025 with uh, using this channel for if I want to talk as it grows. I want to wait till it gets a few more people, but I want to be able to this coming year in 2025. I want to actually make some videos talking about some of the comic books that I actually purchased this past year from certain creators, independent creators. Now that's a whole nother thing, because I'm talking about the Toltec now. I'm talking about a conversation from the other day, and it's not just that one conversation. I've had this conversation multiple different times, and some other times recently also, other than in the past. But the Toltec discovered that we all live in a dream. You live in your personal dream, I live in my personal dream. But together, humanity as a whole makes a collective dream of the planet. And currently, and for a while, the conscious collective dream of the planet has literally been in hell. Let that soak in. But the way that we change that is by changing our personal dream. It tells you the Toltecs had wisdom enough to know that the reason that most people walk around in a living hell is because they're in a personal hell. If you can change that personal day-to-day struggle from shifting your way of thinking to not worrying about certain things and letting things bounce off of you a little easier, which is a lot easier said than done. I even mentioned this the other day to my friend, because the Toltecs came up. There was 5 agreements, and because if you don't understand this, our lives are based on agreements we made based on what was taught to us. So we agreed to, at some age, whether it be our parents, our teachers, religious folk in church, whatever. At an early age, you get started that you're being domesticated until you get to a certain age and you domesticate yourself. Human beings do. I do. But those 5 agreements are, be impeccable with your words. Say what you mean what you say. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best, and know your best changes from day to day, moment to moment. Like I can assure you right now, I feel a lot my best. Right now, I feel like I'm putting forth my best after not being up long, but I've had a decent rest, and I don't have, there's plenty of things I could complain about, but what is it going to change? So there's that. Then you have the 5th agreement. That's what my thought is on. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. Meaning that when other people are sharing their stories, sometimes you may realize what they're saying might not be fully on point and true, at least from your perspective. But if you see that person believes what they're saying, sometimes it's not necessary to interject and try to make them. You can't. Sometimes it's best to listen, let them talk, but also in your mind ask questions. Know that what they're saying is. That's how you decide. You know what I mean? Like you'll figure out. But I was saying the other day, I can tell when someone believes what they're saying, and sometimes it's irrelevant for me to try to point out where they're wrong or think that I'm right. Let them talk. Let them believe what they want to believe, because sometimes that's basically the way it is. And when it comes to some of the big things in life, that's what it boils down to. I can't prove to you that there's something out there that created and is creating and is constantly in motion and that moves through everything, that has consciousness that you can communicate with if you try. It ain't about trying, but if you're receptive to it, you will experience it at some point, hopefully in life. And if you don't, I pray that you know, well, I mean, I can't change that. I just know, also this past week, someone mentioned to me that when it came to the God thing, that sometimes it's impersonal to them, because I was talking about my personal relations. Anyway, those are just some thoughts. I'm just thinking, if you could hit the like button. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed and you like kind of how I'm talking, what I'm talking about, think about subscribing. I'm trying to grow this channel. If you have any other social media, any of you guys that are watching, share this video to wherever you're at, Facebook or whatever. I'm not on Facebook anymore. You can find an account over there for me, but it was hacked. Don't go to it. Don't try to find it. I was on Instagram. That was hacked along with the Facebook. I'm not going to be back over there. Hadn't been there in months. And I hate that happened, because the person that hacked the account scammed a couple of people that were my friends, and one person thinks that I did it. And anyway, we're not going to get in. We're not going to go there. That seems like I'm fretting. I'm fretting. I'm not being grateful and thankful. And I am very thankful for anybody that watches my ugly ass. But what I'm getting at is, we have the power of choice every day to be a victim or be a victor. We can choose to be victorious on a, or we can be boo-hoo me. This is why I can't get this done. Now, there are a lot of reasons why sometimes I'm not able to get some of the things done I would like to do. But I'm talking about simple things. I'm not talking about things around my trailer and stuff. I'm talking about, I'm constantly mentioning getting rides is a hard problem, and trying to, take care of certain things monetarily. Sometimes it can be an issue, but who doesn't have those issues, especially in today's economy, and it's only getting worse. I don't look for it to get better just because somebody else is going to supposedly be in power head of the country. It's all an illusion. Remember that. It's all an illusion. Who thinks they're in power up above us in this physical world in politics has no clue that they have no power. The only power they have is what we choose to give them. And I mean, luckily they still haven't been they can't read my thoughts just yet. But if you don't think that ain't coming, you got another thing coming. If you're here when that happens, they're working to be able to even know what you're thinking. And then if you think out of line, you're still going to get in trouble. You're going to be blocked off from things. And that's just insane. So you got to learn to trust in the divine. That's the only way you're going to make it through some of these times coming ahead. No matter how prepped someone thinks they are, you can store all the food you want and all the water, and it might make you live another couple of years, but eventually it's going to run out if everything's on the brink. There's only going to be a few pockets of humanity that have certain resources of their own that they're just producing themselves secretly somehow away from the mainstream of society. I hope that I find myself in those places. I'm going to I'm trusting that that's where I'll end up, is some community that is outside of the mainstream of society that's being mainly controlled and largely controlled on a consistent basis, worse than we are now. Because from what I understand, my purpose here is not over. I'm still here in front of this camera. I'm still breathing. I can't guarantee myself, but I do feel in my heart I have several more years left to try to get to where it is I should be, or where I think I should be. I got to remember I am where I'm supposed to be in the moment here, because I am Sage of the Eternal Moment. So if you could hit the like button and subscribe, I'm going to end it here. I feel like I went on a tangent. I hope this video makes it to you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just kind of like putting a lot of different things out there. Think about it. What is your personal dream? Are you in a living hell in your head right now? Or are you gonna try, and if you are you gonna figure out how to manifest out of that? Are you gonna shift your way of thinking? Manifest heaven into your life, you know? If you're a biblical person, look into what Jesus did say, that the kingdom of heaven's right here and now. It's right in front of you. That's the trick. People don't understand that. It can be accessed. It can be accessed right now. You ain't got to wait for some future for it. Like right now, I am in bliss this morning making this video. Now, I could get off of here and find myself disgruntled a little bit. That is only part of the human game here, you know. I am spirit manifest into this body, but it happens sometimes. I get down, I get anxious, I get bent out of shape. And then I got to reel myself back in and remember, this too shall pass. So until next time, Mr. Gray Cloud here, Sage of the Eternal Moment. Over and out. Go check out Gray Cloudy Day also. Go check that channel out. Ditto.